everyone. Michael Lai here from Seattle, Washington. It is Thursday. Every Thursday, I take time from my schedule, to share with you, great idea and strategy, to invest in real estate in today's market. So I wanted you to, walk away with some, great information that you can apply into your business, right? So I talked to two entrepreneur business owner, yesterday, and they asked me like say why, I have the U.S. flag, American flag behind me, at the background. It's a little bit story on that. I came here in 1993 as an immigrant refugee, from Vietnam, right? So, back in 1989, I escaped from Vietnam to China and then Hong Kong, Philippines, and end up in Seattle in 1993. So when I came here, I didn't know a soul, I didn't know anybody, didn't have any money, no food, nothing that I have that available at that time when I came here. So I remember the World Relief Corporation that helping me, that sponsored me to come to the U.S. So, everybody brought me, blanket, food, right? And, so, it's been already like 27 years ago. And, for me, like, as an immigrant, as a refugee came here, and grow out, to be, where I am today, right? So, it's been great, America has been great for me. American been great for me. So what I do is I always want to give back, right? So so starting the real estate business in 1998, so 22 years ago. But if you were to look at like in the year 2000 when the market is changing, right? So we were helping over 300 customer a year, right? Back then the average home price would be 298,000 in our market area. But today, the average home price is about $657,000, right? So if we in the same business, same market, we have over 300 customers, right? And then we earn $3 million in commission, right? That would be like 2010, if you look at the track record other team that what we do, right? But then 2020, 10 years later, the same market, if we were to have 300 customers right now, instead of making $3 million, we would be making about $6 million in commission, right? So that's just the aspect of it. And then some of us ask ourselves a question, because if you look at like the year of 2010, this is when I give this example that we help over 300 customers, right? We make $3 million in commission, right? For professional fee that we provide. But then 10 years later, the price of the home that going from $298,000 into $657,000 average price right now. So you ask yourself a question. Back then, 2010, things are really, really bad, right? Things are really, really bad. Supreme mortgage, most of the bank went out of business, and pretty much my client, because I started the builder services for builder. I entitle, develop project, and helping the builder to sell, to get their product, get home on the market and get it sold, right? So thinking about like if the price 10 years ago at the last market change, right, it's 298, and you purchased a home back then, right, when So you purchase a home then, in 10 years later, the same home that double in price, right? 298,000 average home price of the 300 customer that we help. 10 years later, 657, right? Really, what do we have to do? If you think about like, okay, when these, when the market like that, and then you make a purchase, but where would you be today if you purchase, home, single family home, for example, right? Um, so that's just example of investing in real estate, right? But thing and so investing in real estate is a great investment to invest into, right? But how do you in the market, in the market like the last market, where we were, 10 years ago. Back then, this, I mean, every day yeah, it was bad. Sky's falling, right? But when all this client, all this buyer, all this investor have stepped up, to purchase property, then where would be right, where where that would be right now. But I thinking about like, okay, so there are two things that people don't buy, when it's on sale, it's stock and real estate, right? If you can see like commercial real estate right now, and think about what would be the advantage in terms of purchase that with a term, with favorable price and term, right? And in and so the yeah, so investing in real estate, that would be every Thursday that I wanted to share with you. And happen, over over the years, I train and coach over 146 entrepreneurs. And 11 of my students went on to become a self-made millionaire, right? So because when you be able to make that much coaching call to the client, right? When you be able to do that much training to the client, investor training, anything from seller financing, become a developer, right? Become a land developer, right? Creating and enhancing value added class, right? And capital raising class, right? And OPM, right? Using other people money, anything from EB5 financing to seller financing, right? And joint venture partnership. So if we have 12 different degree camp that we're training, right? But I do a lot of this work. I really enjoy what I do, in terms of helping, and nothing is gonna make me happy is to see my students successful, right? And so you know so if I look at all the life that I touch, right? All the people that I help to be where they are right now. And I came up with the character. What would they have in common, right? Why they step up and do it. And because I know traditional it. Over here in the USA. We traditionally, we grow up, we go to school, we get a job, we get a job, right? And then we work on the job until we got laid off. It's just like we have a lot of layoff right now. And then we start to find a new job, and we work all the way until the 65, or 70 or 68 years old before we can retire. That concept is really not working anymore, and I know that, right? So the job is, Brian Tracy say it best. It's just over broke, right? So you got to learn how to invest and be an investor, right? And for those that been in the residential business, for those that been into the commercial business, it's time for you to step up and invest in and become an investing realtor, right? Together with all the builder, all the developer, right? So that's what I want to train you, right? So, but look at all the the top people out of 146 people that I trained, 11 of you guys went on become a multi-millionaire, right? And so what did I learn from, decade of doing this type of training and coaching work, right? So I came here and look at what are the common that this successful entrepreneur have in common. So today I wanted to share with you the characteristic, 22 characteristics of of a successful entrepreneur, right? The first one I wrote down is, they have to have a training, right? If you don't, they better train than the rest, right? And so I've been in training and coaching, for decades, right? If you don't learn in real estate investing, real estate development, right? In real estate, management, in real estate sale, right, and brokerage. If you don't, what you have to learn the system, right? If you don't learn it, if you don't learn, even it's gonna cost you money to learn, you have to, you pay, because if you don't pay for the training, you're gonna pay in the real life. And real estate investing, if you're gonna pay for it, it is very expensive, right? So for example, if you learn how to do seller financing, you learn how to do business development, right? You learn how to make presentation, you learn how to do development of real estate, right? You learn how to raise capital, right? I mean, like the class that we offer is so many, but I look at the characteristics of the successful real estate, investor is they better train, right? They not only have a train. I don't know if anybody out there be successful at something, but they not better train, right? So they train and they train well, right? So the second characteristic I wrote down here is they focus. They focus on the goal, right, that they set for themselves. They set the schedule. They gotta dedicate the time to do it. Because everybody say, I want to own an X property. I want to build X portfolio that give me an X cash flow, and but how do you find the time from the schedule, daily schedule that you have with your job, with your family, and dedicate the time to do it, right? So, they set a goal, they create a schedule, right? And they have they have somebody that better than them, somebody that coach or that trainer to hold them accountable for the goal, right? So they have to focus on their goal, and then they create a schedule to do that, right? So if you don't put that on schedule, it's not gonna happen, right? And the third thing that I wrote down is they have to have the high desire to achieve, right? What is your motivation to be successful in investing in real estate on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 is the worst, and 10 is the best, right? What is your desire to be successful? For me, I came from Vietnam, right? I came to America in 1993, and I make my decision then. I came to America. I paid very high price to come here, right? So I will definitely not gonna go and get a job job, right? I wanted to start a business, and I wanted to help people, right? I want to build. So that's why you saw me that I own Windermere Real Estate, back in 2005, right? And then we went on and do and have $100 million, 90 to $100 million volume of service sell every single year, right? And then we're helping with entitlement and development. So if you can see, I just not gonna settle where I work, right? So what is your motivation to be successful, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, right? And so really have to, if people don't have the motivation to be successful, they're not gonna set a goal, right? And if people don't set a goal, why bother with creating a schedule, right? That doesn't go together, right? So the fourth is discipline, right? The characteristic of a great investor, they have to have discipline, right? So, they be trained and they well trained, right? right? And they focus on the goal and they set up the schedule to support their goal, right? Because wanting something, it's not gonna happen, right? But you really have to set up the schedule. It's like Brian Tracy say, been to one of Brian Tracy training in the past, and how badly you want what you want, and what will be the price that you pay to get it, right? But you have to pay upfront, right? So how badly you want what you want, and what will be the price that you pay to get it, right? Because you wishing, you hoping, it's not gonna work. It's not really a business strategy, wishing and hoping, right? So then, be disciplined, right? Be disciplined to follow your schedule, to follow your training, right? And be disciplined to be coached, right? You don't have to select me to train you and coach you. You can follow any great training and coaching out there, but it's better to have one than don't have one, right? So I wrote down here is that the characteristic of a successful investor is that they have the courage to do what other people are not willing to do, right? Like I mentioned, 2010, reason I showed you the track record from the Northwest Multiple that, we close and help over 300 clients a year, in the challenging market like that, right? So it takes the courage to do it, right? Like I say, there are two things that when it's on sale, people don't buy. Number one is stock. Number two is real estate, right? And so the discipline of doing it, right? And they do the thing that people are not willing to do, right? So you buy when people sell, you sell when people buy, right? So that like me, I wake up, I go to bed at 11 o'clock, and then I wake up, at 5:30 in the morning. I go to the gym, I hit the road, I hit the gym. Well, because there's no gym right now, since like March 2020, because, we have to run outside. But I have to really have to wake up early, get on the freeway, get to the gym, right? I have to have the discipline to do what most of the people are not willing to do. Because what you end up to do, if you do what other people do, you end up like everybody else, right? And you get on the freeway. When everybody get on the freeway, on the rush hour, get what happened? You got jammed, right? But so really try to think about you have to have the courage, to do it, to do the thing that people are not willing to do. Strong, I wrote down here is strong commitment to the objection, right? Back in the day, when I learned this from Erna and Gail Conan, he say that success, how do you define a success, right? And the successful definition. And Erna and Gail, he say that success definition, and here is the success, let me give it to you, right? Success is a progressive realization of the worthwhile goal and the objective, right? Success is a definition of the successful. Success is the realization, of the worthwhile goal and the objective. That means, what does that mean? You set the goal and you follow the goal, right? Right? You follow the goal and you see the progress, the progression toward the goal that you set, right? So, so having a strong commitment to the objection. What are your objectives, right? And and I know sometimes the question I have over the years doing the training, my coaching is like, I'm an immigrant, right? The reason that I'm sitting behind the American flag is that I came to America, and I really appreciate the opportunity that what the America have to offer, right? But then the question here is, why are we living? America is the richest country on the planet. You know, there's no other country as rich as America, right? That's why that's why I create uh, EB5 Regional Center, to inviting people and provide a pathway, for the foreign investors to come to the U.S., like myself, right? But I came here as a refugee, so because my father is worked for the U.S. Marine, U.S. military in Vietnam, right? Before 1975. So the question here is, why are we living in the richest country on the planet and we are broke? That makes no sense, right? That makes zero sense at all, right? Why we live in the richest country on the planet and we're broke, you know? And so, back then, when I came to America, first year I delivered newspaper for Seattle town, But then, I always have the vision that I wanted to be better than where I work. And I will not get a job. I will not get a JOB job, right? I'm not participating in that. I always envision about being an entrepreneur, doing a business. And I remember my friend named Hill, he delivered newspaper with me, right? So, we're making about $600 a month, $700 a month. But I always think about the guy, that I wanted to be. So he said, Mike, do your job. I don't know if you poor like hell. I don't know if anybody as poor as you are, But I tell you that, I told him that, I'm poor today. I'm small today, but I can be a bigger tomorrow, okay? If I'm gonna learn, be trained, be coached, right? And apply what I learn, train, and coach into what I do, and have a discipline to follow it, right? So, and for those that know me, that I've been through that one, okay? So, you are where you are today, but where you're gonna be tomorrow, and where you're gonna be in the next 90 days, okay? Where you're gonna be in the 6 months from now, And for those of you, you look at your business and production. This is the most challenging time of the year, right? With pandemic, with everything that's going on. But we have the last 6 months. We have the last 6 months of the century, the last 6 months of 2020. So make that the most productive. Talk to us. We can help you with that. Okay. So the next thing that I wrote down here is that successful entrepreneur and investor, they replace the old habit with a new productive one, right? And then they have the ongoing evaluation. Okay. So, what would be the habit? You are where you are right now, and the financing because of your habit, right? So what would be the new habit? What would be the new habit? And I just say that I have one entrepreneur and say I wanted to be able to, doing more purchase, right? Buy more asset. But I say, well, if you do more asset, if you want to buy more asset, you have to learn how to find a property on hidden market, how to find property on open market. You have to talk to people. You have to look at, like 20 property in order for you to purchase one. And how you do all that? Create a new habit, talking to the client, talking to the prospect, right? Create a new schedule, follow the schedule. So what would be the habit that you have right now? What would be the new habit that you create for you? The productive one, right? So I wrote down here that yes, the successful entrepreneur in real estate business, they have the plan and they follow it, right? So do you have the plan? Do you follow your plan? Is somebody going to hold you accountable for the plan that you created for you? So talk to us, work with us on that, all right? We're going to help you. So successful, characteristic of a successful entrepreneur is they know the number, right? They know the number. So what would be your number? From the number of contact to number of a presentation to the number of the new business that you're taking in when you're taking on a new business, how many of those are gonna get, gonna get sold and closed? What will be the number that you're playing with, and how much time that you put into your schedule to do that, right? And the net that I wrote down here, a successful, you know, entrepreneur in real estate, they maximize the use of their time, right? Right? So if you set up a schedule that you're gonna work on the investment, right, for yourself, then work on the business, what would be the schedule? So you make sure that you block that up, because I know there's a lot of distraction, right? There's a lot of distraction, especially with like in today's market, especially with social media, right? Social media, phone call, and all this media, all this distraction, that when you dedicate the time to do the business development for you, that you're not going to be able to do it because so many distractions. Social media is one. That's why they call it social media, right? It's social, like socially. They don't call it a business media. They don't call income media. They don't call like money media. But they call social media. It doesn't help you doing anything. Just waste a lot of time, right? But I know a lot of people are going to be spending a lot of time on those, right? So, yeah, it's a great business promotion, but you really have to block your time to do the productive thing for you and your business, right? So, I wrote down here that yes, a successful entrepreneur in real estate, they have a productive attitude, not a positive one. Productive attitude. Productive attitude, that means they all focus on the activity, right? That leading them to more income, to helping more people. That could be like, customer acquisition, follow up with customer, go on the presentation, right? And helping the people. Productive attitude, right? So I wrote down here is that yes, they are very honest with themselves, right? They're very honest with themselves where they are, right? You look at yourself, by yourself, in the mirror and say, where I am right now, in terms of my income, right? Where I am in terms of my asset, where I am in terms of business production, in terms of customer, right? And where I am in terms of skill of customer acquisition, skill of, prospecting, skill of follow-up, skill of making presentation, skill of raising capital, skill of real estate related, right? Let's say in the industry, right? So the moment that you improve it, where you are, the income will be increased and changing as well, right? So learning is equal earning, and we here to help you, right? So so the last thing here, that yes, successful entrepreneur, they're looking for a way to expand in their thinking. They're the old saying that when your brain is expanding, when the brain is expand, it never go back to the original shape. So you really have to looking at way to expanding your knowledge and your skill, right? In today's market. So so I hope that you can learn information that I'm sharing with you today. Like I say, the reason I telling you that yes, I sit behind the American flag is that I want to, every day it reminding me that yes, I live in the richest country on the planet. Then, and then because I live in the richest country on the planet, I wanted to give back, then this is what I do. Setting up the investment development program, right? And then the training to help you to get better, right? So with that, appreciate you taking the time to watching this program today, and subscribe to the YouTube channel so that next time we have a great program, you'll be notified. All right? So have a great one. Thank you.